everybody, it's your girl Bilikis. How are you doing? Compliment of the season to every one of you. So today's tutorial will be on how to make this pintuck top. You can make it into a dress, you can make it for your kids. You can see it's so nice. Here I just have, I think on each side I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 pintucks, then these just 2 and the sides. Also I have 4 here. So you can decide to make it longer. I think this was just 1.5 inch above the waist level. So you can have it, straight down to your waist or a little below your waist. You can even have more pintucks depending on what you want. You can just make it stop a little bit around your underbust. So that totally depends on you. So before we go over to our work table, are you subscribed? If not, make sure you subscribe now. Tell your friends about this channel. Our Facebook sewing group is Sewing Innovation. On Instagram, I'm Bilikis Signatures. Let's go over to our work table. I'll be making use of this fabric. So I've already cut out the pattern already. So this is for the front panel. So this is what it looks like. So now the first thing I have to determine is where I want my pintuck to end. So I'll just open this up. So this is what I have. So this is the waist. Then you have to note the midpoint. This is the midboard with my crease, because this type of fabric, the crease can just show you where the midpoint is. So what I'll just do is this, get where the waist is. So from here, this goes inward, so I know that is where my waist measurement is. So if you want yours to stop just at the waist, just maintain it there. Let me just, maybe I will have to change the color of my chalk, but I guess this is obvious. So looking at this is the waist. So if you want it to stop on your waist, just maintain this part. But like the one I have on my mannequin was just 1.5 inch upward. So 1.5 here, or if you want it to be 2 inches, 4 inches, that totally depends on you. But let me just leave it here. I'll just make it stop at my waist. So now, because of the side bust I have here, I added extra 2 inches to my waist measurement. So what I'll just do is this. The measurement from the nape of my neck now is actually 16. So I'll just add the extra 2 inches bust that to it, so to make it 18. But if you did not add side bust to yours, just make it your normal waist measurement. So now since mine is 18, so I'll just add extra 2 inches, or just make use of that 18 inches because my neckline is lower, because I have to retrim it after making the pintuck. So I'll just make use of 18 inches in length. So that is the measurement from the nape of your neck to your waist. So I'll just make use of that measurement. So now let me just fold this away and then take another fabric. So looking at it, I have another fabric. I folded it because it's a cotton material, so this crease will make me know that is where the fold is. If yours is not like that, just make a straight line. So now let me just confirm 18 inches. So this is 18 inches. You can just add extra 1 inch if you wish to, but mine is just okay like that. Then I'll draw a straight line. So I'll have to trim off this excess. So now let's go over to talk about the pintuck. Now we want to start working on the pintuck. So I'm supposed to make use of this fabric because I want it to be more obvious, and for better understanding I'll just make use of this paper. Then the width of the pintuck you want totally depends on your preference. Like the one I have on the mannequin is 1/2 inch all through, but it totally depends on what you want. You can't make yours 1 inch. You can even make 1/2 inch, leave a space, then make 1 inch. That totally depends on you. But the essence of this video is just for you to get an idea of what we are talking about. So what I'll just do is this. since I made use of 1/2 inch all through, so what I'll just do is this. So now starting from here, there's gonna be like 1/4 inch space in between, so you just leave 1/16, just 1/16. I've made detailed video on how to read your measuring tape. So the first line here is 1/16 on your measuring tape. So I'm just going to start from that. So now I will now make 1/2 inch from that 1/16, just the first line on the first bar on your measuring tape. So that will just be, you just leave that space. Then after that, 1/2 inch all through, depending on the number of pin tucks you want. So now I'll just start. So 1/2 inch plus that first bar. So that will be the first one, which is here. So you mark that. Then you keep marking 1/2 inch all through. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, as much as you want, but I'll just leave it at this. Then I'll go over to the lower part again. So the first one will be 1/2 inch plus the first bar. So that's what I'll have here. Then I go forward after that, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Then I'll start connecting them. So can you see that? That's the first one. I'll go again. So you can even decide after 2/2 inch width of pin tuck, you want to have 1 inch again. That totally depends on your preference. So looking at this again. So this is what I have. This is how it will look. So what I'll do now is to transfer all this pattern on the actual fabric I want to make use of. Now you can see I've transferred all my pattern to the main fabric. So remember I told you this initial one will be 1 bar on your measuring tape. So that is that. So from there I started imputing 1/2 inch. So you might be wondering how many lines you will need for your pin tuck. So what you just do is this. 3 lines are for just 1 pin tuck. So this is 1. We are starting from here. So 1, 2, 3. That's for 1. 1, 2, 3. That will make it 2. 1, 2, 3. That will make it 3. 1, 2, 3. That will make it 4. So 3 lines, as I've said, is for 1 pin tuck. So looking at it, so you can have as many. So that will be 3 lines times whatever you want. Like I want 4. So that will be 3 times 4. So I should have 12 lines here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now how do we start sewing it? So this is the first line. We'll start sewing from here. So you just pick up these, the second line. Can you see what I have? So this first line now will have to meet the third line. And this is what you will sew up. So just take it this way. Can you see that? So you will sew the first line to the third one. So this is what you will do. So opening it up, I have the same. I've already marked for the other side. So this first crease is the middle point. Can you see that? So that's the middle line. So from here, we'll start sewing. So when you pick the first one to this, so when you sew it, this is what you have. Then you skip 1 line again, go to the second one. You keep doing that. So we'll go to our sewing machine now and I will show you how to do that. So after sewing it, it slips on each other like this. Can you see that? So that is how it will look. So this is our midpoint. This first crease is our midpoint. So we start sewing from the first line to the next one. So let me go to my sewing machine. Now the sewing machine is ready. So this first crease is the midpoint. So you start sewing this first line to the third one. So the second one will be in the middle. You can pin it down. So now I'll take to the sewing machine to start sewing. I'll use a contrasting thread for you to see. You see that? So make sure the second line is towards you here. So you keep sewing. Do not exceed the ½ inch. So looking at what I have now, you can see the first pintuck is ready. So you just give it a good press. But before I do that, I'll just keep sewing. So now this is the next line now. So this will be the first, second, third. So you just pick up the second one, then sew the first one and the third one again. So that's how you keep adjusting till you sew it all up. Then you use your hand to adjust it each time. The second one has been done again. Then I will take the third one. Can you see how it goes? So I'll just sew everything up and then show you how it looks. Now this is what it will look like after sewing it up. So note, this is the middle. I'll now have to take to my ironing board just to press everything down neatly. So just make sure you take your time to press it all down. This is what I have after pressing it up. Can you see that? So this is the middle. This is the 4 pintucks I needed. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here is just the leftover I will use to sew it to the main top. Can you see that? So now I'm going to take my top to start sewing it on it. So now this is my top and this is the pintuck. So now I know this is the middle, and with this crease I also know this is the middle. So the first step is to do what? Turn this way. Just make it face this side. I'm just going to pull this up. So looking at it, the middle point here has to match this point. So just make it like 1 inch excess or ½ an inch, because we still have a lot of excess here. So once you match it up, can you see that? Then I'll have to pin it down. So this is what I have. So I'm going to sew this way. So when you are sewing, the edge of this leftover fabric has to be inward. So you also have to pin this down, because after sewing, you want to place it this way. Can you see that? So you have to fold in the edges. Can you see that? So I'm going to pin it all through, then go to a sewing machine. Now I'm going to take the sewing machine and just sew on the straight line of the waist. Can you see? So this line will help you know where to sew. Now I've sewn it, so I have to trim off this excess. Just trim it as low as possible. So now just flip it over. So can you see what I have? So can you see the midpoint matches with the crease? Then the next thing now is to note that at the upper part too. Okay, good, it matches. Then I'll pin it down. I haven't done that, so I'll have to pin the edges too. I have to pin it all. Just take your time. And you see, I'm going to pin it all through. Since I've secured the midpoint, so I'll have to match the edges. So after pinning it all through, then I'll have to sew 1/16 of an inch, very close to the edge. I'm going to sew all through to the neckline. I'm going to sew this side too. Then we can now trim off the neckline. I haven't sewn it, the sides. Can you see? When sewing yours, you should use a matching thread, but I'm using a contrasting thread for better understanding. So I've sewn it all down. Can you see that? So on the wrong side, this is what it looks like. Can you see everything is intact? So now another thing you could do now is this. You could just sew on the wrong side now. You could just sew 1/4 inch on the neckline just to sew it down. So after sewing it down, we'll just trim off this excess. Then you can attach to your back panel, fix the neckline with a bias strip or a facing, and then you are good to go. So let me just do that. Now I've taken in 1/4 inch. So on the right side, this is what it looks like. So through the wrong side, we can now trim this off. And you see that was pretty easy to make. It's as easy as that. So now let me turn it to the right side. Can you see how beautiful it looks? So now all you have to do is to, like this has a bust dart, take in the dart, attach the back panel, finish the neckline with a bias strip, and that is all. So I'll just place this on the mannequin for you to have a better view. Yeah. Looking at this, can you see it's so nice? So you can have as many pintucks as you want. You can make it wider. It just depends on what you want. You can see it's so easy to make. If my tutorial has been helpful, don't forget to subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, Bilikis Signatures. I remain your girl.